Executive amnesty, that's what everyone is calling President Obama's post-election executive order, basically granting amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants. But now, a road bump for the chief of abusing power, Texas. The great state of Texas has put the brakes on President Obama's plan with a federal judge granting Governor Greg Abbott's request to halt executive amnesty. So what will this mean? Is this just a temporary stop that the president can get around? We know they're appealing it. And if the White House is successful in weaseling out of it, what's next for Texas? Not just Texas, but the other border states. Joining me to talk about this situation is Gabriella Morrongiello of Campus Reform. Gabriella, it's good to speak with you. Give us the full scope of what this, and again, I know it's temporary, but what are we looking at here? I mean, we know the White House is going to appeal, but right now they can't really process. This is the day before they were going to issue these papers to defer deportations, so now what?
Well, this is a huge blow to the president's legal authority. And while this is unlikely to lead to sudden deportations of the illegal immigrants who are granted amnesty by the president's executive order, it is a huge blow to the president's legal authority, and it falls in line with the 26 other states who have vocalized their opposition to the president's executive action.
Right, and that's so important to note. 26 other states as well have signed on to push back against this. And the judge, the federal judge in Texas, was saying you just didn't have the authority to do this. Is that and that was in his decision?
Sure, and this falls in line with, this outright abuse and disrespect for the rule of law. And it's not just happening on the executive level or within our federal government. It's happening at colleges and universities across America. The Leadership Institute's campusreform.org has been following this disturbing trend of colleges and universities giving outright priority to illegal immigrants over U.S. citizens and legal immigrants. So what we've been seeing is states such as Oregon, Colorado, California, where U.S. citizens are forced to pay out-of-state tuition while illegal immigrants receive tuition equity benefits and are able to pay less amounts for tuition, in-state tuition in some cases. So again, it's just an outright disrespect for the rule of law, and it goes to show how far we've come as a country.
Yeah, and it penalizes those who are doing everything by the rule of law. They're crossing all of the T's, they're dotting all of their I's, they're doing everything that they're supposed to do. I mean, and as I would just think that the first action in terms of joining a country that of which you want to be a citizen, it should be a respectful action, just coming in through the front door and coming in legally. Now, you had mentioned too how much preference, I guess, for the lack of a better way to put it, that a lot of illegal immigrants are receiving on college campuses. And I know over at Campus Reform you've been following this closely, and the DACA, the Deferred Action Childhood Arrival, actually covers, does it not, the ages right up before you're hitting college. So we would see such a huge impact at the college level.
Yes, we're seeing an impact at colleges and universities across America. We're seeing students actually champion on behalf of illegal immigrants. At NYU, we just saw students rally together to create a scholarship that was exclusively for illegal immigrants. And now we're seeing Democratic lawmakers in California actually propose a separate work-study program exclusively for illegal immigrants. So all of these fall into this preference that you just spoke about, giving illegal immigrants priority over legal immigrants and U.S. citizens.
Right. Yeah, and we love immigration. No one's ever had a problem with immigration. It's just that there's a way to do it. I mean, come through legally so that we know what's happening, and we have our national security and a number of other issues to think of. So the White House, of course, is going to appeal this. Jay Johnson sounded a little bit deflated, Gabriella, when he was saying, "Well, I really hate this, but I have to uphold it anyway." He didn't sound incredibly thrilled.
Yeah, and Jay Johnson, in addition to the 26 states who have come out saying that this executive amnesty isn't right, they recognize that we have such a disrespect in this country for the rule of law. In offering these special benefits and programs to illegal immigrants. And the more benefits and programs that we continue to offer to them, the more of an influx we're going to see in illegal immigration to this country. Because all that these do, all of this tuition equity, giving scholarships out to illegal students, all that it does is incentivize prospective illegal immigrants to go ahead and cross our borders so that they can take advantage of these programs.
Right, which dovetails right into the Deferred Action Childhood Arrival Program. Now, I know, I'll ask you related to this, the House passed it out, the Senate's taking it up, Republicans and Democrats going at each other's throats over the funding of DHS, which, of course, as you know, includes that funding for DACA and these other executive action programs that the president has proposed. What do you make of some of there was a poll that was released that's saying, well, everybody's going to blame Republicans for this if funding for DHS doesn't go through. What do you make of this? It seems like the last election kind of shut those kind of arguments down.
Yes, well, Americans are beginning to realize that having respect for the rule of law doesn't mean that you're anti-immigrant. And unfortunately, that poll blaming Republicans for, blocking the funding of DHS just because they don't want to see this executive action go through, it's nothing new. And it's sad that we have developed this rhetoric in the country where, if you're against this executive amnesty, you're anti-immigrant. That's not the case. We're not anti-immigrant and opposing these types of amnesties and benefits. If anything, we're just demonstrating our utmost respect and confidence in the rule of law.
Yeah, well, Gabriella, we so appreciate your perspective on this, and we appreciate all the work that Campus Reform has been doing, too. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Folks,